be seated. And welcome this morning to the University of Maryland School of Public Policy Commencement Exercises for 2014. I'm Don Kettle, Dean of the School of Public Policy, and I'm delighted to share with all of you the excitement and the pride that comes with this day and that comes with the career in public service to which our graduates are singularly devoted. The School of Public Policy is a lifetime experience, and our days together here in College Park are only the preface of a long book yet to be written. We're very, very excited about what we know lies ahead for the students who are graduating here today. This is a graduating class of which we are very proud. It's the largest class in the school's history with 176 graduates. And they are heading out for careers in a wide variety of organizations, including the U.S. Government Accountability Office, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the World Bank, the World Wildlife Fund, Booz Allen Hamilton, the New America Foundation, Mathematica, Maryland Health Systems, the State of Virginia Joint Legislative Audit Review Commission, the District of Columbia Public Schools, and many more. We have also some students who are heading out to work for government security agencies, but they aren't allowed to tell us which ones. We aren't allowed to tell you what their names are, but they'll be listening in on your phone calls a little later. This class is a truly extraordinary group of leaders, sure to make its mark on the world of public policy. We so often celebrate graduation as the end of a line, but once upon a medieval time, people actually wore this kind of stuff to work in the morning. And when they did, they saw this process of commencement and graduation very differently. In the 1500s, when people actually did come to work like this to try to stay warm in offices that didn't have any heat, graduation didn't mean the end, it meant taking a step forward. And we celebrate today the steps that you, our graduates, have taken. Your very wise decision to begin with to come to the University of Maryland School of Public Policy, your project courses, your term papers, your internships, tens, if not hundreds or thousands of emails and text messages and Facebook posts and tweets. For our doctoral students as well, there are the comprehensive exams and your dissertations, and we celebrate here today your success. Then we get beyond graduation to the word commencement, whose roots go back even further to France in the 1200s. And commencement comes from the idea of a beginning. That tells us that what we're doing here today is celebrating not the end, but the start, and the start of a journey focused on a very high purpose, unlike any graduation here on campus this weekend, pursuing the public interest. That's a very special reason here today to celebrate. We celebrate the step that each of you as our graduates are taking. We celebrate your start on the next part of your career, and we celebrate the noble purpose that you're serving by committing yourself to this career in public service. Most of all, we're here today to celebrate also what makes the Maryland School of Public Policy so special, because the commitment to public policy and public service and the public impact you will make is what it is that defines what it is that you have made of the school. Now, no one can take a series of steps like that alone. Graduates, you have many friends and families gathered here today, and you can't imagine how proud they are, or maybe the relief that they're feeling too at the same time right now. Graduates, please stand and give your families and friends a warm welcome and thanks. Thank you. We also want to extend a very special recognition today to the Robertson Foundation for Government. At a time when it's become fashionable to run down the people who work in government on behalf of all of us, the foundation has taken truly extraordinary steps to invest in students building careers in government service and international affairs and to become true thought leaders in the effort to advance the pursuit of the public interest in which we're all so heavily invested. We here at the University of Maryland School of Public Policy have been especially fortunate to be one of the 5 schools across the country that have built a strong partnership with the foundation. Exceptional support from that foundation matched by a strong commitment to government service by our own Robertson Fellows. So please join me in a special thanks to the foundation and to its Executive Director, Bo Kemper, who's here with us today. Bo, thank you very much. Each year, the graduating students select a classmate to make a few remarks. This year's graduates selected Caleb Wolf. This morning, Caleb is going to receive a Master of Public Policy degree with a specialization in management and leadership. Most of our students come to us from across the nation and around the world, but Caleb is a genuine citizen of Maryland. He grew up just a few miles away, outside of Annapolis, received his bachelor's degree in sociology and criminology here in College Park. Before continuing on to graduate studies with us, he worked for a number of nonprofits, including AmeriCorps and the Boys and Girls Club of Annapolis. He soon will become a public servant for the great state of Maryland in the Community Health Resources Commission. I'm proud now to introduce Caleb Wolf.
So I wasn't the best student in this program. I will admit that. But that's only if you define best as having the highest number on some 4-point scale. And personally, I think GPA is really an antiquated form of performance measurement that fails to causally link outputs, thank you. It really fails to causally link the outputs to the desired outcomes. And I have yet to see a rigorous study that proves statistical significance of a direct correlation between higher GPA and greater success. So I'm not really that worried about it. But I say that because I would argue that there really is no scale that could measure what I learned here at this school. The quality of teaching, the interactions, and the experiences that were provided to me did more to ensure my potential success than any quantifiable measure. There was an article back in the Post, an op-ed I think in December, that talked about public policy schools and how they weren't doing a good job of producing graduates with the adequate skills necessary to deal with the challenges in the real world. After I read that article, I was reassured because I knew my time here at Maryland, I was getting a practical and relevant education. We were not only learning the abilities to develop policy, but we've learned the importance of being able to implement them. And I realized that I was going to be a lot more prepared than the other graduates who decided not to come here. For this, I would really like to thank all the faculty and staff, all the work that you've put in to make us better people. You've been very caring and really have showed a great concern for our well-being and our education. So thank you. I would especially also like to thank those professors of mine that showed me an extra measure of grace and patience in dealing with my punctuality deficiencies. I would list you all by name, but there's about 16 of you. Yeah, do that math. And then there's you guys, the graduates. You guys are awesome. It's a great view. Your thoughts, just getting to know you has been a real joy. Your thoughts and your insights, your desire for knowledge, your concern for others, and your passions to just make this world a little better. As I look back and think about all the times we've been through, all the crazy, stressful, and ridiculous memories, that's what I'm going to treasure the most. I think back to first semester, just commiserating through stat and micro, or hanging out at happy hour, often way after happy hour had ended. The late night study sessions, the potluck dinners, or just more recently that writing party I had in the student lounge on Monday. All these things have helped me, and I really couldn't have gotten through this program without your support. So I want to thank you guys too. It's the relationships that I've built. Those are the things that I'll remember most. In fact, my only regret is not being able to spend more time getting to know you more. Well, that and taking 611. I'm sorry, I will just never use Stata. But that's what I want to leave you with, an understanding of the importance of relationships. People are why we are here. We saw problems in our world, problems that affected people, and we wanted to be better equipped to handle those problems. But I fear that too often, as we grow in our knowledge and we get caught up in our achievements, we forget about the people that we are ultimately trying to help. If we are not careful, we can let academia quietly turn into elitism. We can begin to believe that because we have been blessed with great minds and the opportunity to attend a great school, that we now know what's best to solve the world's problems. And we fail to hear the voice of the people on the ground that are dealing with those problems every day. Like, why not talk to the single mother struggling to make ends meet to find out what may make a Medicaid block grant more efficient? Or talk to the farmer in Peru, learning from him the challenges of sustainable organic agriculture. Or even the teacher in the classroom on what he or she may believe could make a universal pre-K more effective. Or even the family in Ukraine on about their insights and thoughts on U.S. involvement in the region. We cannot forget about them, and we need to build relationships with them, for they are going to have insight into the problems that we can never see, no matter how accurate our multivariate analysis might be. I've heard it said that real change occurs in the context of real change occurs when confronted with the truth in the context of a relationship. I have found this to be so applicable in so many different aspects of life, and I believe it applies to us today. We are all here because we want to affect change. This education has given us the tools to find truth, and I want to encourage you to develop relationships in whatever context you might find yourself. That is how we will see real change occur. You are all exceptionally bright. You have good hearts, and we have received a great education. Know that. Go from here with confidence, and let's change the world. Thank you.
Caleb, thanks so much for those inspirational remarks and for finally explaining to us what this performance management stuff is all about. Now, in addition to selecting a student each year to speak to the graduates also elect one member of the school's faculty to address them on their last day here at the school. This year, the students have selected Professor Philip Joyce. Phil Joyce directs the school's specialization in public sector financial management. And in addition to his career here at the University of Maryland, Phil has taught on the faculty at George Washington University, the Maxwell School of Citizenship and Public Affairs at Syracuse University, the University of Kentucky as well, and in addition has 12 years of public sector work experience, including 4 years with the Illinois Bureau of the Budget and 5 years with the United States Congressional Budget Office. In 1992, he received the CBO Director's Award for distinguished service there. Professor Joyce has received numerous national awards, including the Aaron Waldowski Award for Lifetime Scholarship in Public Budgeting and Finance, the Elmer Stotz Award from the National Association of Schools of Public Affairs Administration, and the Joseph Holy Award from the American Society for Public Administration. He is currently the editor of the leading journal in the field, Public Budgeting and Finance, and he's been elected a Fellow of the National Academy of Public Administration. So it is with great delight that I give you Professor Philip Joyce.
Before I start, I'd like you to join me in giving a round of applause for Dean Kettle for all the hard work he's done on our behalf over the past 5 years. Thank you, Dean Kettle. So first, Martin, I like the hat. I am honored to have been asked to address you. I've been told that I have 3 to 5 minutes to provide some parting words of wisdom. This is daunting for a couple of reasons. First, my normal time allotment is 2.5 hours. And many of you can attest to the fact that I can't really even clear my throat in 3 to 5 minutes, but we'll see what happens. Second, this implies that I have something to say. On substance, the bar was set pretty high by Chris Foreman and Rob Sprinkle the last 2 years. So I was looking for inspiration, and I found a compilation that NPR recently put together of the 300 best commencement speeches ever. Now, I learned a lot of things from looking at this, but I'm going to share 2 of them with you. The first is whatever I'm going to say will never make such a list. And the second is that Kermit the Frog gave the commencement address at Southampton College in 1996. Who knew? So somehow that made me feel better, because I just have to meet the Kermit the Frog test. Before going any further, I do want to make sure I say, because I believe it, that I am proud of each and every one of you for choosing public service, for the milestone that you're reaching today, and most importantly, for the many things that you haven't done yet, which are very important and good things that you will do. I can also tell you, as someone who apparently, according to Dean Kettle, has taught in multiple public policy programs and cannot keep a job, that I have seen a lot of public policy students in my time, and I've never been more impressed with a group than I am with you. I mean that. Having said that, please. Having said that, just telling you how great you are seems not to be quite enough and to get you up this early. So there are 3 cautions I want to leave you with as you move on from your relatively cloistered life as a graduate student to a little more complicated life as a public servant, and for some of you as you continue that life. The first is, as much as you have learned and learned and learned about the design of public policies and how to analyze them, never forget that public policies are actually implemented by people. And I swear that Caleb and I didn't rehearse this, but this is the same message. How you interact with those people is at least as important as how smart you are or how good you are at figuring out the right policies. I've run into a lot of people from graduate schools of public policy that don't seem to be able to get over the fact that public policy doesn't work quite the way that economic theory says it should. And they miss one important point, I think, which is that in organizations, relationships matter, how you treat people matters, and it's important to your success that you know who has the power to make things happen. And what all of those have in common is that they involve people. The second thing I want to tell you is that the more successful you are, the more likely you are to come into contact with politicians and political appointees, and I want you to remember one thing. They were elected, you were not. When I was 23, when I was 23, my first job was in the State of Illinois Budget Office working for a very good governor, Jim Thompson. Now, in retrospect, one of the things that he can really point to as an accomplishment is that he's one of only 2 governors in the last 40 years who did not go to prison in Illinois, but I digress. But in any event, I continually had to resist the temptation to divide his decisions into 2 categories. There were the bad decisions, and there were the ones I recommended. Now, eventually, I figured out that it turned out that he had a lot more things to worry about than I did. So I eventually learned to cut politicians a bit more slack. Third and finally, and perhaps most importantly, please remember that your integrity and your reputation are non-renewable resources. Once you get tagged as someone who's willing to climb over other people to get your way, or is willing to do a slipshod job in order to get something done quickly, or willing to skirt the law or the rules for your own gain, You've got a reputation, you've earned it, and you better like it because it's yours. Now, part of this involves, I think, remembering that the word public is in public service for a reason. Confidence in government and institutions is low enough, it doesn't need any help. And public servants have a lot of power to do things that make government look good or bad. The how would this look on the front page of the Washington Post test is still a good one, and one to pay attention to, I think. So mercifully, that's all they'll let me say, except that I wish you nothing but the best in all you do. I am sure that you will make us proud, and you'll do many good things, and some great ones. We're interested in knowing what you do, so please keep in touch. And we are sorry to see you go, but that was the point, wasn't it? Thanks very much.
Thanks so much for Professor Joyce and for your words, your inspiration, and for reminding us about the importance of the people piece of this and the thing that in so many ways makes this school such a special institution, especially the connection between the people in front of us who are our students and the people who are sitting right here, our faculty, and that special connection that advances the sense of values that he's so proudly and happily and so strongly talked about. Now, many of our graduates have been the recipients of special awards or honors, and they have distinguished themselves through the course of their time here as public leaders and activists and scholars. So I want to recognize the students who have achieved considerable accomplishment during their time here. And first, I want to recognize the graduates who have been named to special fellowships during their tenure in the school. The names of those fellowships appear on the back of your program. And let me ask all the graduates who have received a named fellowship listed in the program here to stand up so we can recognize and honor you. Please stand. Congratulations. Now, Professor Elizabeth Gilmore will celebrate the graduates who have been inducted into the Pi Alpha Alpha National Honor Society. Professor Gilmore earned a dual PhD in engineering and public policy and chemical engineering from Carnegie Mellon University. Her research focuses on understanding the costs and environmental features of energy and transportation technologies so we can make better decisions. Professor Gilmore.
The Pi Alpha Alpha National Honor Society encourages and recognizes outstanding scholarship and accomplishment in public policy and administration, as well as integrity, professionalism, and effective performance in the conduct of government and related public service activities. Only students and graduates meeting the highest academic standards are invited into Pi Alpha Alpha. I am delighted to recognize the students from this year's Maryland School of Public Policy graduating class who have been so honored. As I announce the inductees, I would like them to please stand up and remain standing until each name has been announced. Please hold your applause until then. The inductees among this year's graduates are Cynthia Bertocci, Christina England, Ian Fellers, Shu Han, Amy Lindsay, Brittany Patterson, Zachary Saivo, Tristan Towson-Schoen, Catherine Vaughn, and Catherine Watkins. Congratulations.
Now, Professor Jerome Dugan will present the Presidential Management Fellowship recipients. Professor Dugan received his PhD in economics from Rice University, and his research focuses on health policy, especially in understanding the causes of disparities in healthcare, the way the health system delivers healthcare, and the structures of healthcare regulation. Professor Dugan.
The Presidential Management Fellows Program was established by executive order in 1977 to attract to the federal service outstanding individuals from a wide variety of academic disciplines who are particularly skilled in the analysis and management of public policies and programs. Fellows are selected through a highly competitive national process. The extraordinary nature of this year's graduating class is reflected in the fact that this year's class boasts 4 Presidential Management Fellows. This is more than any school of public policy in either the Atlantic Coast Conference or the Big Ten. Yeah. As I announce this year's fellows, I'd like them to please stand up and remain standing until each of the fellows has been announced. Please hold your applause until then. This year's Presidential Management Fellows are Rachel Burke, Laura Garnett, Nathan Hurwitz, and Cara Marcy.
So just in case you're in any way confused about this Atlantic Coast Conference, Big Ten kind of stuff, in public policy it doesn't matter, because the students in our program, in our school here, have already beaten Ohio State and Michigan and Wisconsin and Minnesota. They've already beaten North Carolina and Georgia Tech. For those of us here at the University of Maryland, we know this is nothing more important than the fact they also beat Duke. But more importantly, this is a sign of the extraordinary quality of our students, that the students not only who competed and won finalist positions as Presidential Management Fellows are representative of a much broader group of students here that you see in front of you, and one reason why we are so very proud. So when you think about all this controversy, know that for public policy, it doesn't matter. We've already beaten everyone. Announcing this year's Excellence in Scholarship Award is Professor Alan Schick. Professor Schick is a founding member of the school's faculty way back in 1981. He is perhaps our most decorated faculty member, having been named as a distinguished professor by the university. He is the recipient of numerous national awards, including the Guggenheim Fellowship, the American Society for Public Administration's Dwight Walter Award for a career of contributions to the field. He's traveled the globe for the World Bank to help nations improve the ways they manage their budgets and their public programs, and is by any measure one of the foremost scholars of budgeting and public governance anywhere in the world. It gives me great pleasure to present Professor Alan Schick.
Caleb, I promise not to mention GPA. Each year, we recognize the graduate in the Master Public Policy program who got through our, would you agree, challenging and diverse curriculum with the highest academic performance among his or her peers. Actually, if we have more than one student with the same average, the same performance, we use a tiebreaker, and that is the student who is smart enough not to take my courses. Okay. We further recognize the student's achievement by hanging her picture, not her, but the picture, in the hallways to inspire future students. The Master Public Policy student whose graduate performance was the highest in this year's graduating class is Christina Englund.
It is now my truly great pleasure to introduce today's commencement speaker, Congressman Steny Hoyer. Congressman Hoyer is not only a towering figure in Congress with 33 years of distinguished service, he served longer than any member of Congress in Maryland's history. We're also proud that he's one of our own. He's a graduate with high honors from the University of Maryland, and we're sitting here today in the very heart of his congressional district. The university and the School of Public Policy have never had a better friend than Congressman Hoyer. For years, he supported the Steny and Judy Hoyer Fellowship in the school, which has provided generous support to students as they've connected with the center of the nation's and the world's government, which is just, of course, 8 miles away. He's also led the effort to support the Gladys Noon Spellman Fellowship, named in honor of the distinguished member of Congress who preceded him into office. Representative Hoyer has always made a very special place in his exceptionally busy schedule to meet with our Hoyer and Spellman Fellows. Part of the welcome always includes his description of a very Maryland scene with huge implications for the nation and for the world. Washington's resignation of his commission as commander of the Revolutionary Armies. The time was 1783. The place was the Maryland State House in Annapolis. And the lesson Representative Hoyer points out as he points to the portrait of this ceremony on the wall of his office is the greatness and wonder of American democracy, because this was perhaps the first time in the history of the world that a victorious general ever laid down his sword in support of a fledgling elected democracy. As Minority Whip in the House, there might have been times when he might very well have wished for Washington's sword. But his great strength has always been his experience, his know-how, and a collegial manner that's made it uniquely possible for him to reach across the aisle to get things done. As whip for the Democrats in the House, he's in charge of rounding up votes, which makes it the fact that he's sometimes the person that two-time Academy Award winner Kevin Spacey has looked to in preparing for his role in the Netflix mega hit House of Cards. But Spacey told reporters that he had it easy compared to the real job of the real whip in the real House on the very tough real issues. Representative Hoyer has led the charge in bringing health care to low-income children. He has brought new opportunities to disabled Americans. He has been a champion of human rights and has fought against genocide throughout the world. And he's worked tirelessly to improve the operation of the House of Representatives itself, a thankless job on which he's nevertheless made big progress. You may not know this, but he's even a knight, a special honor bestowed by the government of Denmark in the Order of Dannebrog. Representative Hoyer is a leader of uncommon principle at a time in Washington when that has been an all too short a supply. He's been a wonderful friend to the state, to the University of Maryland, and most of all, to our own School of Public Policy. So it gives me the greatest privilege now to introduce and welcome him as our commencement speaker today, Representative Steny Hoyer.
Good morning. I hope it's not good afternoon when I finish. That allusion to Kevin Spacey always worries me. Kevin Spacey, of course, uses the sword on a regular basis, as you who have watched that program notice. Dean Kettle, thank you very much for that kind introduction. Alan Schick, one of the giants as it relates to budgetary policy. Alan and I had the opportunity to work together when I first went to the Congress of the United States. There are 534 of my colleagues who need to enroll in your class, Alan. I count myself as the 535th. Caleb Wolf, thank you for introducing me to this awesome group of people who sit before me as graduates of the School of Public Policy. Ambassador Schwab, it's always good to be with you, with whom I have the opportunity to work so closely on so many different, very important efforts for our country. Secretary Gansler, thank you for your service to our country. Secretary Gansler at the Department of Defense and I work together on a frequent basis. His contributions to the country are extraordinary and very appreciated. President Glickman, who addressed the class, He's a recruiter and a fundraiser, as you could tell, ladies and gentlemen, of the class of 2014. He is your former SGA president here at College Park and now head of the Public Policy Alumni Board. Bo Kemper and I had an opportunity to talk before we came out here with the Robertson Foundation. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your contributions. Thank you for the Robertson Foundation's focus on encouraging people to come into public service, although I observed to him that neither the House nor the Senate are doing much to encourage people to come into public service right now. And the crowd said amen silently. Thank you to the grandparents, to the parents, the siblings, the friends who are here who helped our graduates reach this day. Christina, congratulations to you for your extraordinary accomplishment as the leader of these 176 graduates academically. And thank you as well to the faculty, to the staff, the administration of the School of Public Policy for everything you've done as mentors, advisors, to prepare the class of 2014 for whatever comes next. Let me also extend my congratulations to graduates Martin Fitzgerald and Sarah Gallagher, who I had the opportunity to meet just a little while ago, who are recipients of the fellowship my late wife Judy and I established to promote the study of public policy. And I also want to congratulate Christina England, Lindsay Dodd, and Rachel Kane, who are this year's Gladys Noon Spellman Fellows. I had the honor of succeeding that extraordinary woman to the Congress of the United States when she fell ill. And I joined with her family in 1985 to launch the fellowship that her name is on for the Fellowship of the School of Public Policy. Graduates, the year I graduated from law school in 1966, Senator Robert F. Kennedy delivered a powerful address while visiting the University of Cape Town in South Africa. And he said this: like it or not, we live in times of danger and uncertainty. And he went on to say that all of us will ultimately be judged, and as the years pass, we will surely judge ourselves on the effort that we have contributed to building a better society and the extent to which our goals and ideals shaped that effort. He went on to say that our future may lie beyond our vision, but it is not completely beyond our control. Indeed, he said, it is the shaping impulse of America that neither fate, nor time, nor the irresistible tides of history, but the work of our own hands, matched to reason and principle, that will determine our destiny. Senator Kennedy's words are true today as they were then. Like it or not, graduates of 2014, we live in times of danger and uncertainty, but the future surely is not beyond our control. When Senator Kennedy spoke in 1966, the security of our world rested in the hands of two superpowers, ourselves and the Soviets, the balance between them providing, ironically, a measure of stability. In 2014, it's not one main adversary that we face, but a host of non-state actors and regional powers vying for advantage in power and in resources. In 1966, our gross federal debt was $328 billion. Today, it is over $17 trillion. When I graduated, the federal minimum wage was $1.25. In 2014 dollars, that was $10.77, or about 40% higher than it actually is today. And there's a growing skepticism among many Americans that the opportunities that enabled you to access higher education will no longer be there for the next generation. In 1966, information traveled around the world in a matter of hours or days, as newspapers went to print and television was broadcast. Today, as you know, Within a split second, a single tweet can launch a conversation spanning the globe, just as easily as it can launch an uprising or spark a sectarian violence. The world you're entering as newly minted graduates is a far more complex one than when I sat in your seats or stood in your shoes. However, I think I can say with certainty that you are prepared for it. The education you received here at the School of Public Policy is rooted in its mission to, and I quote, prepare broadly knowledgeable and innovative leaders to have an impact on the profound challenges of the 21st century. Our challenges are, in fact, profound, but you have the tools to provide positive, effective responses. As Kennedy said in this, it is the work of our own hands, what you will do with your Maryland education, matched to reason and principle, that will determine the destiny of yourselves, of your families, of your communities, of your state, of your nation, and because we live in America, indeed of all the world. Reason and principle in today's public discourse is in too short a supply. The challenges of the 21st century will require those who engage in policy making not only to be good leaders, but good listeners as well. Let me suggest to you that the incitement of confrontation takes no talent. The creation of consensus, on the other hand, is a critical ability in a successful democracy. The challenges of the 21st century will require those who engage in policy making not only to be good leaders and not only to be good listeners, but also to be good and determined to create agreement, consensus, action. Not simply to care about issues, but to address them carefully and acknowledge their complexities. Sadly, too much of our politics of late has been characterized by simplicity, sound bites rather than sound arguments, and impulse without regard to implications. However, as I look out on all of you and think about the promise of your generation, I see much cause for the hope that reason and principle will continue to serve as your guide. When I wore the cap and gown in 1966, there were only 3 women in my law school class at Georgetown Law. It's now, of course, over 50% women. Fortunately, this has changed, and I've had the privilege of serving alongside pioneering women like Barbara Mikulski, Hillary Rodham Clinton, Nancy Pelosi, and yes, Ambassador Schwab, who continue to inspire a new generation of public service. When I began law school, segregation and discrimination continued to deny equal access and equal opportunity to millions of Americans. Jazz Lewis is here, young African American, who's now on my staff. I congratulate him on his graduation. I entered public service in large part because of the civil rights movement. I went to school in the late 50s in high school and the early 60s in college and law school. The civil rights movement was the movement of my time. Today, while much work remains to make our union more perfect, the moral arc of the universe, as Dr. King observed, has bent in justice's direction. But graduates, you know too well, it is not there yet. The quest for justice remains ongoing, and it is for your generation to continue to strive toward a more perfect union and a more perfect world. The growing diversity among our policymakers in both background and in beliefs makes America stronger as we face new challenges. However, we must make certain that our diversity will not be the genesis of our division. one nation, indivisible. Yes, with different opinions, with different views, with different solutions, but one nation, creation of consensus in a democracy, a critical talent and objective for us all. I have confidence that you and your peers can meet those challenges. What you learned here at the School of Public Policy was not just a wealth of knowledge and theories, but an understanding of your ability to reason and determine your own set of principles and how to channel that knowledge, that reason, and those principles into making a difference. You've already shown us how. Each year, School of Public Policy students participate in the Do Good Challenge. What a wonderful challenge. Was that Sarah where participants team up to make the greatest possible social impact through innovative philanthropy. One of this year's 2 winning teams created a social networking site for LGBT youth to connect with pen pals for peer-to-peer support. How critical it is when we're under assault or we're perceived to be different that we have peer-to-peer support. The other launched an organization to build schools in Honduras. Finalists included a team working to connect the Anacostia River Bike Trail to an urban farm, and another linking college-age mentors with at-risk students in Prince George's County. The work of our own hands, matched to reason and principle. Your generation, the most interconnected in human history, has the advantage of seeing more of the world up close than any generation that preceded you. But as our world shrinks, your responsibility to do good in it grows. Even now, as was the case in the last century and for centuries before that, the awareness of injustice or suffering too often did not, does not lead to action. In the 21st century, however, one cannot plead ignorance of injustice or suffering on the other side of the room, or indeed on the other side of the world. So I urge you, in each of your own lives, to commit a philanthropy of time, energy, intellect, knowledge, and effort to meet the challenges you discover. And with the world at your fingertips, you'll surely find a way. And education demands responsibility. So proceed from here with pride in having attained knowledge, but also humbled, recognizing what possession of that knowledge entails. As the years pass, and to paraphrase Kennedy, you surely judge yourselves, as each of us do. Let your yardstick be the degree to which you were guided by reason and principle, and by how well you employed them to do good wherever possible. Sometimes you'll be daunted by the task before you, but I will leave you with the same direction my commencement speaker gave when I was in the class of 1963 here at College Park. Lyndon Johnson, still vice president 8 months from the assassination of John Kennedy, stood before us and quoted from Shakespeare, who wrote, "Our doubts are traitors, and make us lose the good we oft win, by fearing to attempt." Caleb said, "Let's change the world. Do not fear to attempt. Challenge yourselves to do good, and challenge others to do the same. In doing so, you will surely judge yourselves successful." Congratulations and Godspeed.
Congressman Hoyer, thank you so much for those words of inspiration, for the call to justice, and especially for the way that you model that in your work and in your career in all that you do on behalf of us in the country and those of us who are lucky enough to live in your district. It is my great pleasure here as a small token of our esteem to share a special token for the University of Maryland. Congressman Hoyer, thank you.
Go Terps!
And now, the moment that you've been waiting for. We'll begin the actual graduation itself with the students who will be receiving the university's highest degree, the Doctor of Philosophy. To introduce our PhD graduates, let me introduce the director of our doctoral program, Professor Anand Pedwarden. Professor Pedwarden earned his own PhD from Carnegie Mellon University, and he specializes in strategies to understand and respond to changes in climate. He looks at clean technology as well as the broader issues of science, technology, and innovation policy.
He is an international leader in the United Nations efforts to understand climate change. Professor Pedwarden.
It is my great pleasure to honor the 6 students who are graduating this year with their PhD in policy studies. 4 of whom are able to be with us today. The PhD degree is the culmination of many years of work at the highest level, and I think our graduates will attest to the many sleepless nights and time spent in trying to reach a level of scholarship that enables them to get this degree. We look forward to our scholars that's technology. Those of us who study technology have to, of course,
Those are one of our leading scholars in technology.
That's right, exactly. So those of who study technology change need to be able to adapt to those. But we look forward to our PhD scholars to be the next generation of leaders in teaching, research, and in helping create the base of knowledge that will support effective policy making. Our first PhD graduate today is Jennifer Nash Littlefield, whose committee was co-chaired by Professor Don Kettle and Professor Bob Grimm, and I'd request them to kindly step up for the pudding. The effective delivery of public services, whether healthcare or environmental quality, often requires collaboration and cooperation between a variety of stakeholders, government agencies, for-profits, and not-for-profits. Jennifer Littlefield's dissertation examines exactly these collaborative networks and tries to ascertain the factors that make positive results from this complex collaboration more likely. Jennifer will continue to be with us in her role at the School of Public Policy, where she serves as the director of the College Park Scholars Public Leadership Program and associate director of the Center for Philanthropy and Nonprofit Leadership. Dr. Littlefield. Thank you. Our next graduate is Jehan Liu. Jehan's advisor was Professor Kettle again, and so he gets a second chance of a hooding this time. Please. Joan Liu's dissertation takes up another important problem in public management, which is dealing with situations where services are often contracted out. His work examined the effectiveness of performance-based contracting in human service provision. Joan will be going from here as an assistant professor of public administration at Mississippi State University this fall. Congratulations, Dr. Liu. Our next graduate is Milena Nikolova, and Professor Carol Graham was the chair of her committee. Unfortunately, she's not able to be here today, so I'd like to request Professor Dave Crocker, who also served on a committee, to do the honors. Milena's dissertation has a rather interesting and provocative title. It says, "Goodbye Lenin, Hello Europe, an empirical investigation of subjective well-being in transition and post-transition economies." And it looks at migrants and their subjective well-being, focusing on migrants from transition economies to the European Union, work that is likely to be quite important in the context of the current debates around immigration and the integration of immigrants. Milena will be going from here back to Europe, where she will be taking a postdoctoral position as a research associate at the Institute for the Study of Labor in Bonn, Germany. Dr. Nikolova. Our last graduate in person is Wenjin Yuan, Jean, and her dissertation chair is Professor Mac Dessler, and I'd like to request them to come up. Jean's dissertation examines the way in which interest groups influence Asian countries in their exchange rate decision-making process, a rather live issue today given the focus and interest on exchange rates, for instance, for China. Her research findings indicate the importance of these interest groups in both democratic and authoritative regimes. Jean will be working at the U.S. International Trade Commission as an international economist researching trade issues in emerging market economies. Dr. Wenjin Yuan. Yeah. Thank you very much. And congratulations to all the PhD graduates.
We will now honor our outstanding master's class of 2014. We ask the master's class of 2014 to please rise and approach the stage.
The candidates for the Master of Public Policy degree are Miguel Alonso Albornoz, Michelle Lake Alderman, Sarah Berde Sachs, Diane Julia Berenger. Elena Stanhope Bertacci. Survi Bandari. Kaylin Denise Billingsley. Elizabeth Botkin. Rachel Burke. Carlos A. Camacho. Valerie Lynn Kaplan. Michael Vincent Chechi. Atia S. Chaudhry. Sarah Megan Clark. Michael Crane Cowan. Shuyi Deng. Lindsay Ann Dodd. Allison Nicole Dodson. Christina England. Jeremiah Adam Epler. Juan Fan. Ian S. Feller. Martin Fitzgerald. William West Fulmer. Thank you. Sarah Youssefnejad Gallagher. Philip Daniel Gallegos. Namrata Garg. Laura J. Garnett. Elliot Bradley Goldberg. Yuan Gong. John Lee Gregg IV. Aja Guo. Shu Han. Mark Hofberg. Claire Hood. Jennifer Hunt. Chimdi Iheze. Shichi Jin. Mariana Jordan. Nazar Kolod. Sarah A. Lazarus. Christina Hyun Jung Lee. Jazz Lewis. Amy Lindsay. Amali Kumari Lianarachi. Eric L. Long.
Hi, Eric.
Brian Abraham Markowitz. Natalie C. Martino. Catherine McCabe. Amanda McCrum. Kenneth William Megan. J. Charles Mintzmeyer. Niranjan Morley. Sean Patrick Norris. Mark Odell.
Hi, Mark. Congratulations.
Ashley Chandra Elizabeth Ogle.
Hi, Ashley.
Kaladi Osho.
Kaladi, congratulations.
Kate Ortenzi. Chad James Jin Parslow. Brittany Marie Patterson. Matthew Elliott Popkin. Madeline C. Preble. Allison Whitney Ray. Zishan Samad. Ching Shi. Wenwin Shi. Vitaly Shpak. Diva Shretha. Zachary John Sevo. William Jared Swain.
William, congratulations.
Ching Tan. Jaime Ignacio Torres. Daryl Turner.
Hey, Daryl. Congratulations.
Catherine Laura Vaughn. Ori Leah Werman. Jaleesa Whitley. Melissa Wilkes. Gregory Willits. Caleb Joshua Wolf. Jianing Wu. Leabeth Morris Johannes. Pejuan Zhou. Nicole Sarah Zion. The candidates for the Master of Public Management degree are Jason Matthew Beach.
Hi, Jason.
Frank Brooks.
Hey, Frank. Congratulations.
Margaret E. Graves. Elizabeth K. McWhorter. Patricia Guarnieri Pace. Rosita Maricela Perguez Hara. Stephen Philip Patterson. Winter Stoneberger. The candidates for the Master of Engineering and Public Policy degree are Han-Gi Kim, Kara Elizabeth Marcy, Michael Joseph Meadow, The candidates for the Master of Professional Studies, Public Administration are Shasha Chen, Yu Ji He, Amber Michelle Ivy. Xiaoyang Lu, Natalie Tammy Monkhow, Caitlin Anna Quicksell, Robert Corey Steinberg, Yihan Wang, Yajing Shi, Shuting Shang, Karen Ye, Shiyu, Yayuan Shang, Shifan Zhang, Jiameng Zhang,
ask the graduates to please remain standing just for a moment. Everyone else could be seated. There's one last tradition that you all must take before you've truly graduated. So much of what goes on in these ceremonies is tradition. This is a tradition, though, that nobody understands where it starts, but we can't end without it. That's turning the tassel from the right side to the left side. So the count of three for the graduates. 1, 2, 3. This concludes our formal commencement ceremony. Graduates, after your recess, please move to the large staircase outside the theater so we can take a picture of our newly minted Maryland School of Public Policy class of 2014. Family and friends, please remain seated until the platform party and the graduates have recessed. Then we invite you all to a reception to honor our graduates at the Alumni Center right across the street and to the right. Looking forward to seeing all of you there. Congratulations.